What is up, you guys? Welcome to the Connect 0007 podcast, where human connection is everything. I am your host, Thaddeus Sims, and today's podcast is actually going to be a bit of a continuation of episode 16. And by the way, that one is titled Your Gift and the People You'll Meet. So hear that podcast first if this is your first time coming on here, and then come back here. Yeah, hear that first, come back here. So now, got to share my fun fact with you guys. And surprisingly enough, guys, this one isn't about an animal. So, fun fact, at one point, very briefly, you were the youngest person on the planet. Dana was very briefly, because I think of this generation today, popping out kids left and right. But anywho, this I really wanted to share with you guys while it was fresh. So like the name of the title, The Effects of Living in Your Gift. So let us talk about podfest. And what that is there was this conference. Some of you guys know or seen the picture on my social media accounts that I was at this convention or whatever conference for people who do podcasts. And I want to share with you guys pretty much the effects of me living in my gift. And what I want you to do is just listen. Obviously, that's what you're doing. But just listen, and also at the end, just really think about like what's possible for you, right? Okay, so I broke this podcast up in about 3 segments. So the first one is experiences. Now, breaking this up in bullet point style. So the first experience that I had was it was being in a room, a whole room, or should I even say that? It's a bunch of rooms into one. So I'm going to say a huge space. It was being in a huge space full of like-minded people. And I don't know about you guys, but that is very rare to be in that space just on a normal basis of people who are like-minded. Now, for some of you, you already have people, you guys are like-minded, blah, blah, blah. Y'all hang out every day. But for some of us out here, that is very, very rare. So I enjoyed all of that. Like every single person I know or met either had a podcast, they were going to create a podcast, or there were people who edit podcasts. It was just all about podcasts. So just that experience alone was just epic. Another experience was it was a family environment. And it's, again, I'm going to say rare to have just an environment that you go in that's family. It has like that feel of a family, because usually some conferences is very like straightforward. It could be super business or super whatever it is, and doesn't have that family effect. It's like, okay, here you guys came for the information. Here you are. Take it, go. Be great, rah, 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 motivation here and there. It didn't feel like, the people you connected with were like, oh, wow, this person, I can actually sit down and have an actual conversation and like bond with this person. And that is something that I experienced, and it was portrayed from the people who created the conference, and from those just all around, from them to the staff, to the volunteers, to the people who came, even to the people who worked there at the hotel, right? So that was very interesting. Another is just the education was like no other. Now, for some of you who know, I started the podcast November of last year, so it's still fairly new. And there's still things that I'm learning with the podcast. And the education there, I couldn't get anywhere else. I mean, there probably is, but what I got from there was awesome. Just cool things. I'm not going to really get into the education part. Just know that it was really cool things that you guys will be seeing from now on in the podcast. If you haven't noticed already, the opening was a bit different. Pay attention to that. So there was ridiculous amounts of education. Now, this last part of the experience, everyone who really knows me very closely know that I could be pretty smart, sometimes. Certain areas, not so much. I'm a bit slow, a bit touched in certain areas, but for the most part, I'm pretty smart. I can pick up stuff. I experienced brain overload 3 times at the conference. And I never knew what that felt like. I always hear people say, "Oh man, they overloaded me with information." And I just figure, "Oh yeah, you get overloaded. You pretty much you get tired. You don't want to hear it anymore, so you're done." No. I was receiving so much good stuff that it literally felt like steam was coming out of my ears, and my brain was just like, I honestly, I seriously cannot take any more information anymore. I was trying to take notes, guys, but it was to the point where I literally just had to take pictures. I cannot afford to retain the time to write what you're saying. I just have to take pictures. And I normally don't do that, but that's what I had to do. And I experienced that 3 times at the conference, away from the conference, talking to some people because they were sharing some amazing nuggets. It was really good. And then someone else was talking about a particular thing, YouTube and stuff like that. And my brain just literally could not handle it. I knew I cannot take any more information. And all I could say was, please, can you just tell me the main thing I need to just do? With everything you just said, what is the one main thing to do that incorporates all of that? Right? Okay, so that was experiences. Now, the people and the association. Now, this one I'm going to say this was like a magical experience. I met 2 people in particular who had the same experience with death like me. So if you heard my previous podcast, How to Connect with Others During Death, you all know that I lost my mother last year in October. So I went through explaining all of that in the podcast. And what was very interesting was that I met a young lady. She's really, really cool. And I believe she goes by the name of the Chick with the Plan. And she's super cool. She has a podcast of her own. And I believe that's the name of the podcast. So check that out. She was saying that she's like, I seen your post on, I got to run. Yeah, this one is important. So I actually got to explain this to you guys so you get the depths of this. There was a Facebook page on the podfest conference that I went to, where you can connect, see people, they post stuff, is where you get all the information. I put a status on there. She said she's seen my status. She said normally she just scrolls down. She doesn't really pay attention, but for some odd reason, she was drawn to me. And I love honesty, and I love people who are just so authentic. She was like, I got to be honest. I seen your picture and I just had to go. I clicked on your profile. I was reading through all your stuff, and I was like, he has a podcast, and let me find it. She clicked on the podcast and she found the one, How to Connect with Others Through Death. And she said, I had to come and find you, and I had to let you know that you blessed my life, because I was going through exactly what you were saying with what you were going through in that podcast. And she said it helped me out a lot. Now, we're not going to get into details of how our parents passed, but just know that as me and her talked, we came to realize that our parents passed the same way. We went through the same things as far as hospital stuff and what have you. Now, she did an interview for another podcaster who goes by the name of Mimi the Motivator. And you definitely have to check out her podcast as well. It's called Get High on Motivation. She is amazing, awesome spirit, so cool. She did an interview on hers, and I guess I was walking and we bumped into each other. She was like, yeah, she was like, I had to come talk to you and whatnot. And fast forwarding, as we talked and we explained more, the other person, the third person, Mimi, the motivator, she shares how, she's like, I had to talk to you too, because she said about your podcast, how you lost your mom. But she was like, today at that conference, that was the day of the anniversary that she lost her mother. And what was interesting was, as we began to talk more, the synchronicities were unbelievable. We all lost our parents at the age of 26. I don't know what it was with that number, but we all lost our parents at the age of 26. Now, Mimi the motivator, she's older than us, so it was about 11 years ago for her, but she was 26. And we were just like, what? And we were talking about our experiences, being positive and whatnot. And it was just, the more we talked, the more the synchronicities were just crazy. It was just like, wow. But for me, what I gained was, it was just like, wow, that's powerful to just be authentic. Yeah, take this away, guys. Whatever you do in living your gift, be authentic and share your story, or whatever it is that you do. Share it, because you never know, that story could, help other people and bring you together with, those people you never met. So that's why I said in the previous podcast, your gift and the people you'll meet, because you never really know what will happen when you live in your gift. And that was the thing. When I did that podcast, I knew it would help someone, but I didn't think, that was going to happen. I didn't think, oh, I'm going to meet these two awesome people and we're going to share the same experience where we all lost our parents, our mother in particular. We all lost our mother at the age of 26 and all of that. Like, I did not plan that, but it happened. And because of that, it was a magical experience. And I met two amazing people who I'm in contact with. Now, that was a story in itself. So moving on to the next is that I met people. Now this is me being very authentic, and I love this. And I'm really gonna talk more on this, because I just feel like everybody should experience this. Now, I met people who made me feel so small, and I loved it. Now, what do I mean by so small? Now, I was sitting with three particular people, and I'm just giving them a cool shout out. They're super cool. One, his name is Renell Russell. He has a podcast called Business and Bourbon, which you guys should totally check out. There's another person. He doesn't have a podcast, but if you're on YouTube, he's pretty well known on YouTube. His name is Roberto Blake. And if you just type his name on YouTube and boom, you'll see him. This guy is ridiculously like the man when it comes to anything YouTube and all of that stuff. And then there's another person I met named Dallin Vanderpool. And he has a podcast, which is all about like careers and things like that. And his podcast is really cool. So you can just type in his name, Dallin Vanderpool. And just check him out if you're really looking into careers. And the three main things I remember he was talking about was just freedom, time, and money. And if that is definitely like, that's something that's, up your alley, totally check him out. But we went to an after party, and all of you guys know I don't do parties, but I did it for the association. We went to this after party, and we went to like some bar place out in Orlando or whatever it was. I don't drink either. Double negative, right? And it was, music was super loud. I don't care for loud music either. 3 negatives. And long story short, we was all talking. I seen Renell. He was chilling, doing his grown man thing. He was just like vibing, like just to himself over there. But guess what? I'm like, dude, you're like, I don't know. I just started a conversation with him. Then the person I met, Dallin, we talked earlier, and then he seen us talking, and then we seen Roberto Blake. And we all go outside to get away from the music a bit and talk. Now, mind you, one of the first things Renell was saying to me, he was like, yo, you're 26. So you grew up in an age of how does he say it? In entrepreneurial porn. That's what you grew up in. Like, you guys see entrepreneurship and you guys think, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur, but you guys do not know the things that happens behind the scenes. And I was like, oh, I know. You know what I mean? Like, I know what happens behind the scenes. So we go and we continue talking. And as all four of us go outside and we are talking, these guys are talking about some big boy stuff. Like, Mind you, in my generation, everybody wants, like, I don't really care for the big houses and the cars like that, but, I'm all about my financial freedom. But these guys are talking about all the stuff that my generation wants. The money, the time, the cars, the all of that stuff that just appeals my generation, and the 6-figure incomes. These guys are the conversations they're having is like, yeah, we've already we've already hit the 6-figure income. We're on to something else, that been there, done that. And I just looking at them like, been there, done that. Wow. I'm sitting here talking with people who are just like, yeah, that 6-figure, been there, done that. We on some other stuff. And they were talking about stuff, guys, where all I could do was just listen, because one of the guys had to break certain things down for me. They were talking. He's like, oh, by the way, this means this. And he wasn't saying it in a negative way or belittling me. Let me say that now. They were not saying it in a way that was belittling me. So why I say I felt small is because for those of us who are like the biggest fish in the pond when wherever we're at, when we're home, we want to meet people that we can learn from. So it's like when you go from the biggest fish in the pond to the smallest little tadpole, god dang it, in the wherever tadpoles are, river, whatever it is, big body of water, wherever that is, it's just like you feel like that really small thing, and then you're back in the learning stage, like, how do I swim? You know what I mean? And that's just how it was. All I could do was listen, because they were saying things that I did not understand. And all I could do was just soak up the information. And that's where I said I had the other brain overload, because that previous day, and I guess the time earlier than us meeting, we was getting so much information. I was like, oh, I can't handle it. But anyways, I was just soaking in, and they were talking about stuff from business, stuff from when and when not to hire, not hiring family, not like automation, loan stuff, like why not get a loan? Like, this is just minor stuff. I can't go into too many details because I didn't ask if I could talk about like them, but it was just little stuff that, big stuff that was just like huge. And these were things I did not know about. They was just talking and sharing from their different perspectives. And it was just like, oh my gosh, I feel so small right now, because there was I really felt like there was nothing of value I could bring to them at all, and it was good. It was great. And I enjoyed that. So this is another big key, guys. When you're living in your gift and whatnot, you're going to meet people, and they're going to know so much more than you that all you can do is shut up and listen. You better, I hope you shut up and listen and soak in the information, because the stuff that the effects that they have on you is ridiculous. They literally will just like start changing like your perspective on stuff. It stretches you, because you're having these conversations with these big boys where it's just like, okay, I can't have these conversations back home. You know what I mean? It's like, nah, it stretches you to seek out that more. And when you do that, you grow, right? So take that with you. The next part of just people in association is I met people, man, who were so chill, but they inspired me to do more. Now, don't get me wrong. The people I said earlier, big boy stuff made me feel small. That was huge. That was a very big turning point for me. But these people, when I said inspired me to do more, and because they were so chill, it was just... The best way I can describe it is, after this was the last day, and it was 4 individuals, and there was one person, I know her podcast is called You Want to Do What? Her name is Monica, and you have to check her out. She's really cool too. Then there was 2 other people, Delante and DeMonte, I believe. And they were really awesome. Now, what was cool is that we were just talking, making jokes about where we're from. One is from San Francisco. The other is Baltimore. The other one is in New York. And I'm from Florida. And I was just telling them, the crazy things that happens in Florida. You know what I mean? Like simple stuff. We see a raccoon hunting iguanas around here. birds having sex on a windshield. When you get out west, there's no light, so you could hit a horse. Little stuff. Us Florida's just Floridians being Floridians. You know what I mean? They was asking about, do you see alligators? We're like, oh, they chill. You don't talk. You don't mess with them. They don't mess with you. They cross the street. Let them do their thing. Then I was sharing with them the ducks. If all of you who are close to me know about the ducks in Palm Beach Gardens, we all know that they are bougie and they rude. And they don't care. They dare you to hit them. They're that pedestrian that's like, I dare you to hit me. Because we know we can't hit them. And they be walking in squads. And they look at you too while they walking like, what's up? And I had to tell them, they were just like, so wait. So, what about, raccoons? I'm like, oh yeah, you can hit them. Possums, you can hit them. Not saying to do it, but, you'll see them. But the ducks, So they was like, okay, so what we got from Florida is all the other stuff, but you can maybe hit some other stuff. That's fine. But ducks is a no-no. I'm like, yes, ducks is a no-no. You don't mess with them. They was like, okay, so they have rights here? I'm like, yeah, I guess so. I don't know, but they got rights here. They have laws. And he's like, what if I accidentally hit one? I'm like, well, those cameras going to accidentally find you and they're going to accidentally give you some, consequences. So those were just funny talks. We were just joking. They were telling me about stuff in New York. They were telling me about things in LA, about jaywalking. And I guess that's like a big thing in certain parts of LA. You can't jaywalk. And I'm looking at them like, what? And then other stuff in Baltimore, they were just saying different things. And it was just cool. We were cracking jokes. But I'm sorry for my Orlando people who live there and my Orlando lovers, but I got to add this in here. I don't like Orlando for nothing. I mean, one, y'all drive the speed limit, and that's so annoying to me. Like, y'all actually abide by the laws there, and it's so annoying. Like, if the speed limit is 45, y'all actually do, they actually do 45 to 40. That was so annoying. Like, bruh, it's 45. You can do 50. You can do 55. It's okay. And then what kills me, they have so many, crossways for pedestrians. And people actually stop for pedestrians. And I'm just sitting here like, are you serious? Like, y'all really stop for pedestrians? Like, y'all really put that much care in pedestrians? Like, oh my, I can't do this. Because back at home, if you're crossing the street, it is knees to chest. We need you to run. Okay, you better make it across the street before this car hits you. You know what I mean? Because, bro, this is what we do. Even the cops down here know if the speed limit is 45, we do 55. Everybody knows it is speed limit plus 10. That is the formula down here. And if you do anything below the speed limit, you are asking to be murdered. You are asking people to kill you. I don't make the rules. That's just how it is down here in West Palm, Florida. But hey, I had to throw that in there. Oh, no, actually, no. There's one more rant I want to throw in there, too. Because what baffles me, I was on some place called International, somewhere in Orlando. International and Sand something. There was Windham something hotel, but I know I was on International. There's a Whole Foods on Turkey something. So hopefully this rings a bell with some of you guys. But in particular, there's this plaza. There is a Yard House, an Outback, or whatever. What kills me about you Orlando people is that y'all block off a whole plaza and around the plaza. Y'all block all of that off for people to only walk through. You cannot park on the side of the plaza anywhere. The parts that look like parking spots, they say no parking. You cannot park there. So I just really want to get my to-go order. I just want to park and get out. No, I have to find a parking garage somewhere. This parking garage, there's only one way you can go, right? Now, there's another parking lot, and this parking lot is blocked off because it's a whatever Saturday night, and it's only reserved for whatever the other plazas that are over there. So not only do y'all not have parking spots around the plaza, you have a parking spot only where one parking garage is at, which is only one entrance. And then the back is like one entrance in the front, one entrance in the back. So you have to go around the parking place, around the plaza to get in that. And that's blocked, or that only has one line. And then the rest of the parking spots that is for other plazas is blocked. So you only have one option, which I don't understand the logic with all of this. And all I wanted was a veggie burger and fruit. I have to go through hell and high water just to park, guys. Like that's not fun. That's really not fun. So y'all really need to do better. I didn't even get the burger. I just left. I went somewhere else and I went home. That's the first time I've ever placed a to-go order and I did not go and get it. Ridiculous. I don't like Orlando. We keep stuff simple around here. You want to go over here and eat? We have parking spots in front of the building, on both sides of the building, and here's a kicker, behind the building. That's what we do down here. I don't know what y'all doing in Orlando, but hey, that's just me. Back to what I was saying. I had to get that out of my system. I had to get that out to a lot of people. Y'all needed to know this. Now, okay, the people I met, we were so cool. We were joking, blah, blah, blah. One of the things about the podcast, we were talking about podcasts, and I was asking her, where are your podcasts? No, she asked me, where's my podcast? Where, people listen to them. And I was like, oh, yeah, on Podbean or on iTunes. And she was like, man, she's like, you got to be everywhere. I was like, what do you mean? She was like, yeah, your podcast has to be everywhere. You got to make it where it's available for people. And I'm like, what? I didn't know this. I'm like, I'm hearing this. Everybody's like, yeah, I'm everywhere. And I'm just like, oh, I never thought of putting it everywhere. She's like, yeah, man, you got to hop on that. So by the way, the podcast will be available on different platforms. You would think that it's common sense, but some of these platforms I didn't know, like a Stitcher, TuneIn for Alexa, Google Play, because, I don't have an Android, but all of these different things. And, they were just sharing certain stuff and it was really cool. Another guy, he was just saying occasionally, yeah, I have me and my crew. We do our podcast and yeah, we, let people know like a week in advance, all that different stuff. And it was just really cool because we were just chilling and having jokes. But as we were talking, they were just throwing nuggets that just inspired me. It was like, for me, it was just like, damn, I really need to do better. I'm inspired to do so much more. So when I get home, I'm going to do all of this. And yes, guys, I'm not the type, I like to apply it right in and there, but it's literally impossible to do all of that while socializing, blah, blah, blah. So I had to do when I got at home. So please don't attack me. And I have done that. So I will let you guys know next podcast, whenever all this stuff is done, the different platforms it'll be available on. So you're not limited. Yay. And then another guy, he was saying that he hasn't started his podcast yet. He started a week ago. And he was just saying it's really cool because I started this and then I came to this conference and I got so much information, and he was just saying that it just helped me out a lot. And I was like, bro, you are in an awesome space because this is going to save you so much time and so much mess ups. And he was like, yeah, dude, I'm grateful. And for that inspired me to like, I'm in the game now, but I could actually, look for a mentor, or something like that in podcasting. So that all of these chill stuff, it just inspired me to just do better. Now, the last segment of this, the effects of your gift, is me now. After all of this, after the podfest conference and things like that, the people talking to me, all of just the experiences, the people, where I'm at now is number one. I feel like there is so much to do and it's fun. And when you're living in your gift, it becomes fun. Like you learn different things, you meet different people, just like I told you guys before. Now, like with the whole point of this podcast is to give you some live, like fresh experiences and just make it just on that. But it becomes very fun, and it's not like when you go to your job. Now, for some of you, you enjoy your job, and by all means, enjoy it. On the other hand, I don't. I really don't. So it's really cool when you are just having so much work to do is what it feels like, that you are having fun while you're doing it. Like I think I got back, Saturday? And I have literally, let me see, what is today? Tuesday? If I got home Saturday, I think Monday was the first time I got out the house since being back. Like I did not leave the house because of all of the new things that I learned and I was implementing. And so and it just hit me. I was just like so into working and having fun doing the podcast that I literally was, I have not been outside in it was almost 2 days because of this. And then I'm like, damn, I got to do that human thing. I got to eat. And I didn't really care to, but it's like kind of need to live. So I was like doing that. And it was just like, dang, this is so much fun that you don't want to stop because you're just, implementing new things. And this is one of the gifts of living. This is one of the gifts of living in your gift. You're having fun doing what you're doing. And it's not the cliche when people say, what is it? When you have fun, it doesn't feel like working or whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's actually genuinely very fun, guys. And it literally feels as though you do not have, like 24 hours isn't enough. It's just like, gosh, I need more time. And that is where I'm at like now with it. Another thing is I have more clarity than ever. Because before I was doing the podcast, as you guys know, I do it every Tuesday. And, the posts and stuff like that. And also the t-shirts, I do that. But now it's just one of the effects of it is just I have more clarity. I know, okay, this is what I need to work on. This is where I'm weak at. This is who I need to talk to. I need to get in contact with this person. These are new things I want to add. It just made me, it just gave me so much things to really do. Gives me so much things to work on. The clarity is by far amazing. And I will say, those moments where you have the most clarity in your life, make sure you jot those things down so you know what you need to work. Like jot it down because you have that clarity then and there. So just in case later on down the line, you get like really busy or you get really stuck on something because you've written it down, okay, I know I need to work on this because you've written it down. That was when you were most clear. The biggest thing too is that it gives me more ways to give you all better content. And that is something that I've been really thinking about because I do the podcast for you guys. And don't get me wrong, I love doing it. So that's not an issue there. But my thing was like, how can I give them more content, give them more things? Like, what is it that I could do for them? Which staying in the topic that we're on is just connecting with people and, making different things for that. So what I got from that conference, there was lots of things coming up. You guys will be in the know because you listen to the podcast. So later on, you will see some new updates on different things. I'm going to start taking the podcast a little differently. So I'll give you some more updates for that to come. And the newest thing to add, I will share this with you. The newest thing is I just talked with my source. I meditated and, have had those moments where you have to meditate and get your knowledge, get your all the important stuff. You know what I mean? So I meditated and I decided, or I should say me and my heart decided that we're going to do I'm going to do a new YouTube channel for you guys, and more details about that will be coming up. I will. Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it all, but just know a YouTube channel will be coming out very soon for some of you all. And don't worry, I'm not going to stop the podcast like what I'm doing here, so you're fine. But I am going to add a YouTube channel, but this one is going to be, at the moment, what's going on in my head, this channel is more going to be about self, whereas the podcast will stick to just how to connect with people. But, as a self, yourself, you're a people, you're a human thing. So we're going to talk about like you. And I feel like the YouTube channel is going to be more centered on time for thyself. So, I'm pretty sure that's where it's going to be. But just in case my intuition and heart tells me something else, then we're going to stick with that. So, guys, this was just my experience with just living in my gift. And these are just the effects that have happened by living in my gift. Now, like I said earlier, I just want you to imagine what yours could be if you lived in your gift. Like literally press pause the podcast like right now. And just imagine. It doesn't hurt for you guys to imagine, like just stop, do that. And just imagine, gosh, what is my gift? This thing. What is it that I'll be experiencing? Imagine that. And what you'll come to find is when you're imagining it, you are creating it at the same time. That's like the first step of creation right there. Throwing it out there. You got the first step, which is in the mind, and then you got the physical part. You doing that because there's 2 steps of creation. But boom, I didn't even think I was going to drop that for you guys, but there you go. You got that. So literally, guys, just imagine what it would be like for you. This was just the freshest thing that has happened with me and my gift and living in that. And hopefully this is just really just inspires you guys to just live in your gift. You know what I mean? Like, take a stop, like listen to the previous one if you haven't, and just do that for yourself. It is so important, and it will change your life dramatically. And as it changes your life, like I said in the previous podcast, it will change those around you, and you will feel so much better. Your health will be better. Your mind will be better. Your emotions will be better. Your pettiness may drop a little bit. All those different things about yourself, they're going to improve. So that is that. So I want to say thanks for listening to the podcast, where human connection is literally everything. And please subscribe, guys. And if you like the vibe so far, leave a 5-star rating. I greatly appreciate that. And if you don't, hey, thank you for your time anyways. There's other podcasts. So anyways, that being said, I will talk to you guys very soon, and look forward for some new updates. Alrighty, guys. Later.